This is Justin AMZN on Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. Take a look at the 5 minute here. So we gapped up, and this time we actually went up. Bullish gap and go actually worked. Yesterday was a bullish gap and go, and we went up a little bit and then came back down. I mean, more than a little bit, but today we gapped way up from this close here, opened up, and yeah, just started to go, pulled back right away, immediately had a retest here, and then just rode the 5 exponential up, came back down into the 21, and then came into the 21 a few times during the day, almost came back into it here, stayed above it, ran right into it again here, and then moved up. And there were just some really good buying opportunities. So I've got the 3150 call pulled up. And what I really like about this option is the open price here was about $7, and we pulled right into that price. Like, you really could have been buying later in the day at the same open price. So you didn't have to have something set up to buy, with a limit buy of 7 and a stop to get out of the trade at 6. You could have done that later. You could have been more patient. You could have, waited for, okay, let me wait for it to pull into the 21. It should have an S curve, and it actually worked really well today. It held the level really well, put in a nice hammer here on the call, really nice hammer here on the stock, and then put in another one here. This one putting in a slightly lower low. And again, just gave you the same entry, getting in at 7, stop at 6. And then on a Tuesday like today, looking for 3 Rs, that would have been from 7 up to 10 and then went beyond that. So you could have just gotten out at 10, that would have worked. You could have held on to get back up into some of these highs. Now, I didn't quite make it back up to this high till later. Did that over here. Got back up to about the 14 price. But again, it pulled back again into the $10 range where you could have been buying. And that was right through here where it didn't quite touch the 21. But if this was the price you got out of and you saw, oh, it got way up here, well, what if I get back in at 10? I've had that thought many times. It's like, oh, I should have stayed in. I wonder if I can get back in and just wait for it and have it set up, get in at 10, stop at 9. And it worked, and it went up to, from 10 to 13. So another 3 hours there. Worked really well. Now, later in the day, we were running into this resistance up here at 14. And that's the one reason I've got the 2975 put pulled up, because I was watching this. Oops, didn't mean to click that. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. So, well, let me zoom in later in the day here. So it was breaking out again. And it's like, okay, it did go sideways for quite a while, but breaking out again on this kind of a day, it's like, okay, that's probably had enough. These really strong bullish candles, then going sideways. It's like, okay, this is going to have some sort of a false breakout and reverse. And I was looking for the rollover like we had yesterday, just breaking down in the last, like 30 minutes of the day. Well, we didn't quite get 30 minutes of sell-off. That's a little too close. Sorry, I'm clicking all around here trying to zoom in on what I want to show. So we got some selling in the last 30 minutes, but it didn't seem as sharp as we had just yesterday. But we did. So what's crazy with this move is it just didn't really work as well as the sell-off yesterday. So I was getting into the 2975 put. I bought right here at 10. So a limit buy of 10 and a stop at 9 and a target of 13. And you can see here, we didn't even get to 13, but when this started to happen, when this started to pull back here, and it wasn't really working on the option, like the option barely moved up a little bit. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get out of this. It should hit 11. So I changed my target to 11 because that was, the previous resistance here around 11. I was like 1150 here. So it's like, I should be able to get out at 11. I knew I was going to watch this trade for the rest of the day because I was getting in so late and just looking to get a little bit of this kind of a pullback. Well, these when these candles were coming in and it wasn't moving, it's like, I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. I might have to just get out. And then this candle came in, and like I said, I already moved the target to 11, expecting it to pull down to like the lows through here, like 30.73, and it got there on this candle and then didn't get out at 11. And then this candle came in, I keep saying 11, 11. So there's not an 11 price that got filled on this candle. I was actually filled to exit at 12.10. So I was in at 10. I was out at 12.10, even though my target was 11. I had a 1.1 R positive slippage. I've never had that much slippage. So this just shows you, I wanted to talk about it because that's the kind of risk you really take having trades on with these options that just have these tick mark um, candles. I mean, they're not even candles, they're just little tick marks. The volume is so low on these usually, like here's one, here's one, here's a 19, and all 19 traded at 1730 price, you know. So getting in on this one at 10 and getting out on this one at 12.10, I was shocked. It's like, oh, this shouldn't have filled. And then this happened, and then this candle happened, and I actually saw the option price go up above 13, even though a price didn't print. Like nobody bought or sold one of these contracts above the $13 price. But had I stuck with the original setup, I don't know if it would have filled at 13 because it just didn't work that well. Like that's why I was really surprised to see this happen. And it didn't just fill me at 11, which is what I was expecting. It filled me at 12.10, which was way above even the 11.40 price. So I can't exactly explain it. We can probably actually go down to a 1 minute. I can show you the last little bit here. So I was in, where was it? No, later here. Okay, so I was in on this candle at 221 central, and then the 1210, the 1210 was this candle right at 250. So yeah, that was the exact time. So 221 and 250. So that's what I put in my record. So I keep track of what time that I entered and exited. And so yeah, I was the high buy price on this candle, and it was the high sell price on this candle, even though it's still a green candle. But anyway, yeah, so I don't expect it to work like that, like getting that much slippage. That's why I just wanted to make sure to kind of talk through that a little bit more. But the easier opportunities by far today were just buying at a previous level, buying off of the 21. Like you really could have bought off the 21 just about all day. And, you know, over here would have worked. Didn't quite get there here. Over here would have worked. I mean, even buying this at 11 and getting out for 12 or 13 or 14, you know, I would have been getting in. I didn't get in here, but buying at 11 and getting out at 14, like that's reasonable. It's late in the day, but it's reasonable, you know, that would have that kind of a rally even this late on a bullish move, even though I just talked through why I didn't think that would happen. Once it got up here, it just ran into the same resistance. And so once I saw it, you know, having the potential to pull back and looking for this kind of sell off, I got embarrassed there. But there's basically opportunities to be buying off the 21 or buying in this uptrend. All you needed is a few candles, a few bearish candles. So there were 5 bearish candles here, and then it went up, and then 3 here, and then it went up, and then 5 here, and then it actually went sideways. But after those, you could have actually been buying, let's see, that one. Yeah, buying that one, and it would have actually made money. It actually did go up. So, you know, these are the things to keep an eye on, you know, how it's moving. The different options move differently. So the 3200 went a little more sideways. It had some lower highs, had a little bit of higher lows through here, whereas like the 3150, it put in, it held the relative highs, around 14, but then pretty much made higher lows all day until this came in. So just, you know, understand the option that you're getting into and how it's moving, and look for those small, like I'm always looking for the $100 risk to set up the trade. And that's why I picked this one. I felt like it, you know, just to track it here, I felt like it did a really good job of setting up first thing in the morning, gave you some opportunities here to pull back, to get in on the pullbacks. But if you were looking at like the 3100, that was just too expensive. You know, it's too hard to get $100 risk on this one. This one was almost in the money, but you know, these candles, this one right here was 1.1, but these that actually pulled back into similar lows, these were much wider candles. So these were a little bit harder to do. There are small candles in here. Granted that there are small ones here to be buying, but you're basically looking to get in on a small candle and it won't retrace at all. And so, you know, it would have worked here if you were just, if your setup and your plan was just ride the 5. That's why I've got the 5 on here, because when these are moving and, you know, we very clearly have that momentum, it's usually hard to see that in the midst of it. It's usually later. It's like, oh, that held the 5 really well, and then it didn't. You know, this held the 5 really well until I pulled back a little bit, and that's when it went sideways, and then it broke down. You know, so those are your warning shots when it's breaking down through the 5. Like, this is where it was pulling back further. Sure, it made another higher high, but you know, you got to be in for a bigger. You got to be ready for a bigger pullback, and this is not the option I would want to be in if, you know, if I've got $100 risk, I'm trying to trail that, unless it started with something really inexpensive. So even, you know, doing that with 3150, I think would be doable to, you know, get in over here and just keep trailing that up all day. I think that would have worked instead of the 3R. I would have set up the 3R target. Let's see, right through here. I don't think I would have expected to keep the movement here. This is where it was about to put in a new high, but it was going to be running right into the same resistance as earlier in the day. I would have thought it'll probably pull back, go a little bit sideways here, and I wouldn't have been able to get my stop at the 3R mark. And it actually would have been fine up to here, and then gotten the stop further up, but then it would have pulled back. I probably would have actually gotten out at 11 instead of 10, maybe made a little bit if I had moved the target up, because I would have moved the target up probably to 14, and it didn't get there either. It got there later, but I would have had my stop at 10. So I either would have been stopped out here 10, or I probably would have moved my stop to 11 in here, thinking, oh, I'll give this some room, it'll hold, and then it doesn't hold, and I probably would have been, yeah, out of this around 11. So still would have been another R beyond 10, but I'm just thinking through what I would have been looking for, and then kind of the expectation with a pullback here. This pullback it came right back into resistance. So old resistance became new support. That's what this level was. And then we did it again here. Broke out, came back into old resistance, new support, and then came right back into that same level later until we finally broke down. So great candles to just to track and, you know, kind of trace along how they moved on the day. This is not the ideal one to be tracking. Maybe the 3000 would have been a little bit better. So I just didn't like the price on this one. So it had much better volume, but I could have gotten in 13 by 12. I wanted something a little bit less. I wanted something for 10. And yeah, I just didn't want to risk that much more of an option, even though this was a much better option to be playing. And then the 2950, I think, was a little bit light. Yeah, so that was later in the day. This still would have had a decent move. Still would have had like a 1 hour move buying through these lows. So buying like 8 by 7 and getting out at 9. I would not have expected a 3R move on this option. So I kind of compromised between the 2950 and the 3000, going with 2975. But I was just looking to scalp something at the end of the day. So, but still based on, you know, what I'm usually looking for with, you know, how things are moving and looking for these levels and just studying Amazon. So thanks for coming along with what I learned today. Hope this helps. This is just an AMZN. Thanks.